the old saying goes, the heroes write the stories. What we found a lot of times in history is that the people who had the most money would write the stories. The people who won the wars would write the stories. The people who had certain privileges would write the stories. And unfortunately, a lot of times they were telling one sided stories, and we didn't always have access to the whole story, which would in turn give us access to the truth. And I feel that a lot of people these days are in search of the truth. Don't just tell me about this guy named Christopher Columbus. Tell me the truth about him. I need to know the whole story. And so when we talk about our bodies and we talk about healing and we talk about things like COVID-19 and we talk about all kind of things that are going on in our world today, I feel that a lot of people want to know the truth about these things. Listen, DC, there are so many things that we could really talk about when it comes to this particular topic. I want to make sure that we have enough time to hit on some of these things. One thing in particular, though, I would love for you to share about. I want to kind of shift gears slightly here and kind of get into the writing and publishing experience, because we have a lot of people who tune into more to your story, and they're coming in and they're trying to write their story. They're trying to understand how difficult or how easy is it to actually write and publish a book. And some people are feeling overwhelmed with the task. Some people are feeling that it's something that they'll never be able to do. Some people feel lost. They don't know what the first step is. And so if we can kind of talk about that a little bit, I think that's going to help our listeners to see that this is something that they can do as well. So for you, when you were writing Making Sense of Health, was this something that you wrote on your own, or was this something that you received some help with writing? What was the writing process like for you?
Okay, so let me touch on, let me go ahead and give the permission. You can do anything you want to do. Anything. You are a powerful co-creator. You were given co-creator status. So that means you can do anything. Genesis 1:26, our divine inheritance was dominion over land, air, and sea. That's everything. So dominate it. If you have a voice, and I know every one of y'all do, let it out. The world deserves to hear. Every single person on this planet is here for a reason, and we're all beautiful and powerful, and that all comes together to build the world to come. You know, it's ever evolving, and these experiences are what builds the utopian society. So everyone go out and do it. Now, for me, I did write this book myself. I started with an outline, right? I had a vision of what I wanted to communicate based off of my 23 years of practicing and helping people heal. So the way I wrote this book is I wrote an outline. It ended up being an 18-page outline by the time I was done. I did this in 6 weeks. Now, I've been studying my entire life, and that's the aha moment. And I go, now I know why God's built me the way He built me. I knew my purpose, and I know my purpose 100%, and I will not stop until I achieve it. So the outline grew to 18. Then what I would do is I would bounce ideas off of my patients when I was spending time with them, and the stuff that resonated back from them to me is what I built my paragraphs for my book. Now, this is not a normal book because my brain has 18 web browsers open and it's organized chaos, and that's how this book's written. I don't think there's one thought that goes over 5 paragraphs. So for the people that are analytical, this could be a very rough book, but make yourself grow and stretch because there's magic to these words. But the process it was daunting in the beginning, but allow yourself to be led. Listen to the inner voice, because in the day and age of the internet, online, there's people that don't have your best interests out, and you don't know what sites you're going on to. So for me, I was able to run into a person that was a publisher for new authors that could help me bring my format, get editing done for me, get my formatting, help my vision of a cover come to a book. Um, so there's many different ways to do it. Mine worked out well because I listened to my sixth sense, that intuition, that spirituality, whatever your background is, and whatever your background is, it's okay. There are many paths to the truth, and it starts with love and communication through truth. So my pathway was pretty simple, and it's been a great experience. The local publisher that I used got me on the Amazon platform. I have a Kindle book or a Kindle Reader ebook. These are new terms to me, so bear with me if I'm not stating it so eloquently. And then I did a paperback, and it was, this is your baby, right? All this knowledge is in your head, and then all of a sudden it's in your hands, and then people are texting you pictures of it, and then sending, I get chills again. And then they're sending you, this is another, what I do love about online and DNA and why it's here for a reason, is it's connecting the world like never before. Unifying as a collective consciousness. And that's something, the flow of this book is about continuity and flow, right? That's a theme throughout my book. And that's what we're seeing. And that's how we get to the utopian society. So as people are texting, oh man, I love this part, I didn't understand this part, the back end engagement on this book is worthwhile. So if you have it in you, if you're being called to do it, ask around, shake the tree of your network, right? That's what, it's community. It takes a village. Now our village just went worldwide. So it's about the soul and the soul needs. So find the people that are vibrating on your frequency and roll with it.
Yeah, I love a couple of things that you said there. I mean, so much that you said was really good. And a couple of things really stood out to me. One, what you were saying on the back end. And a lot of times I feel that people don't really understand the back end of it because all we see is the front end. All we see is what's in front of us right now. And we don't get the privilege. This isn't Back to the Future where you can go into the future and see how it impacts people afterwards. But every single time when you're finished writing that book and publishing that book and you see the impact that it has on other people, every single time, DC, without fail, people tell me, I wish I had done it sooner. Simply because now they can see the impact and the effects that the book has. The other thing that I really appreciate that you said was that it was daunting in the beginning. I love, like we talked about earlier, I love truth. I love honesty. I love when people are able to be real and honest with other people and say, listen, this wasn't necessarily the easiest thing that I've ever done in life. There have been some things that I've done that were easier, but it was worthwhile. It was something that I'm so glad that I did. It was something that once I started the process and I started moving forward, an object that's in motion tends to stay in motion. Once I started moving forward with this, it was something that I was able to keep rolling with. And ultimately, it led to the completion of my book. And I love that because there's so many listeners who catch us on this show, More to Your Story, and they just are trying to start, but they don't realize in the beginning that all they need to do is get it rolling, because once they get it rolling, then they'll be able to keep pushing it further and further down the road. And then one day they'll look up and they'll be published authors as well. So I really appreciate you sharing that.